cut this one off. It's actually my personal favorite Creed song, but we're going to go ahead and do it. DJ Justin, do me a favor. Let's go ahead and stop the music. Well, everyone, good afternoon and welcome to the third Fast Track of 2025. I am Peter Benjamin, and I couldn't be more excited to welcome you and moderate today's webinar. Before we get to our presentation, just a few housekeeping items. This webinar will be recorded and posted to our website in the upcoming days. I will be monitoring the Q&A and chat. Feel free to ask questions, and I will do my best to weave them into the conversation. Now, finally, this year's Make Your Mark annual conference is right around the corner. And I tell you what, it is shaping up to be one of the largest events we've ever had. Really, you're not going to want to miss this one. If you haven't registered yet, and you're still on the fence on whether or not you plan to attend, there's no better time than now to register. I'm actually going to go ahead and post a link to the registration site in the chat right now. Go ahead and leverage that to register for our annual conference. And really, to that point, today's panelists will be featured speakers in this year's inaugural ACUMA session. If you like today's webinar, you're not going to want to miss what they have to say in September. Okay, so before we jump in, a quick disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed during this webinar do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of ACUMA, its board of directors, its management staff, or its members. The webinar and its materials are presented as ideas and possible strategies regarding its specific topics. They do not represent any endorsements of the presenters, their firms, or the concept they represent. Today's webinar is being brought to you by Take 3 Tech. Joining us today is Mike Turner, Director of Sales. Mike, come on stage. Welcome. Thanks for being here. It's good to see you. Mike, what's going on? Mike, that doesn't look like an office.
No, I'm sponsoring the CMLA ninth hole today.
I didn't hear credit union in that sponsorship, but I'll forgive you this time around. Now, Mike, Take 3 Tech, and again, thank you very much for your generous support of ACUMA, our members, and really credit unions as a whole. Now, I love talking strategy with you. I've known you for a long time. So, focusing really on strategy and as we kind of navigate interesting times or whatever you want to call it, right? What strategies and really focusing on Take 3 Tech, what strategies can credit unions adopt to enhance their mortgage operations?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's several strategies, including cross-training, advanced technology, digital tools and outreach, task-based workflows, AI for loan decisions. Here at Take 3, we can take 3 of your platforms, consolidate them to one database of record to where you'll have clean and accurate data. That's where it all starts.
Okay. And, it's clean and accurate is fantastic. And I think we all really want that, regardless of what's happening in the news and what you hear, in this about the regulatory environment. I think clean and accurate, no matter what. It's the old saying, a clean and accurate file goes through the process faster, right? And to that point, I guess that takes me to my next question. As we think about this, and actually, I'll take a step back. What new approaches are credit unions using to refine, their mortgage production processes? And again, I like how you pointed out, you know, really the idea of efficiency and clean files.
True. So, change is the constant. And, adapting new technology, redefining pricing models, leveraging automation, personalizing services. I mean, these are all proactive adaptations to the way that you're doing business. So if we think that change is the constant and keeping in flow with the borrower, communication, and timing's everything. That's key, right?
100%. 100%. I mean, communication is key. So again, this is an interesting market. It's interesting times. Really, how do credit unions tackle, all these different obstacles that they're facing, whether it's, internally, externally, within their mortgage operations? I mean, you name it. How do credit unions tackle the number of obstacles that they face on a daily basis?
I think it all starts with the internal controls, addressing the operational inefficiencies, strategizing for the risk management, utilizing innovative strategies. I mean, talking like on this webinar, it's great. These all come down to reporting and identifying the bottlenecks in production. So, again, at Take Three, we have convergent technology to where it's your LOS, your POS, your CRM. We have the rule tool for government agency search engine. You can see all your overlays. I mean, all the information's just there right up front. And, I think change is the constant here.
Couldn't be more true. Couldn't be more true. Well, Mike, thank you very much for joining us. And again, thank you very much for sponsoring today's webinar.
Yeah, thank you, Peter.
Absolutely. Take care.
All right.
So, before I bring in our panel, I first want to provide everyone with a quick background behind today's session. A few months back, we sent out a request for speakers, something that was first of its kind for this association and really our events. The goal of this request was to find people who had an amazing story to tell, people who had an idea that was so innovative, our members had to hear it. Or perhaps someone who was so passionate about our industry, we had to give them a platform to motivate all of us to be better. The responses we got were really mind-blowing. Now, admittedly, when we initially sent out this request, we thought we were going to get maybe 10 people. We ended up getting over 40. We were humbled by the number of responses. Today, I had the pleasure of sitting down with 5 of the 6 speakers who were selected to participate in our first ever ACUMAx session. And I'm genuinely pleased to welcome Mary Residlow, CMB, Head of Mortgage Lending and Operations and Culture with PenFed; Otis Clay, Mortgage and Real Estate Division Leader with Pacific Service Credit Union; Mignon Davis, Director of Risk and Compliance with Richie May; Ali Hager, Mortgage Loan Officer of Telhio Credit Union; and Sarah Kessler, President and CEO with the Center of Practical Management. Everyone, come on stage and please join me in this amazing conversation. All right, so everyone, as you come on, welcome. So today's really all about you. We'll explore your passions and we'll really talk about and gain your thoughts on our industry and ask you questions about how we can be better leaders. So let's really get started. So first up, and I'm going to start with Mary because you're really first in my Brady Bunch screen. What inspired you to submit a video for ACUMAx, and what message were you passionate about sharing?
Absolutely. So first of all, it's a great opportunity for me personally to shine a light on a problem I think that is alive and well in our industry, and that is a gap in our leadership development for the future. It's no secret that the mortgage industry is an aging, group of professionals, and it's hard sometimes for the newer generations to get a foothold in teams and organizations. So it was important for me to shine a light on that problem and bring it to the discussion, right? And why is that important to me? Because somewhere along my career, someone actually believed in me and pushed me along and showed me doors that I didn't even know I was standing next to. And that's how my career took off. So I want to pay it forward, and I want to help others find those individuals that they're working with that they can invest with as well.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Otis, same question to you. What inspired you?
Well, it's quite simple. Thing that inspired me is realizing that I am, I guess, one in the same. I'm a leader in the industry, but I'm also a recipient. Um, a member within this industry. I'm an individual that grew up understanding the credit risks and things to that extent. But the true inspiration is, again, I feel like the Hair Club for men who says I'm not only the president, but I'm also, a member. That's the reality of it. We are the people that we're seeking to assist. I'm from the communities that I go into, and I look to inspire these people. I look to inspire them to aspire to be better in everything that they do. And I'll say this, and then I'll end it. I believe in this industry. I've been in the mortgage industry for uh, upwards of 30 years. I started in Hawaii, Chicago, now I'm here in California. And people laugh at me when I say this. I always say that we are a solution provider, but I'm not a lender. I'm a solution provider. I believe I cure ailments. I mean, I can walk around with a lab coat on just like a doctor. And I feel that our economic and social ills all start literally from the lack of education when it comes to how to manage our funds and how to manage our life and things like that. When we can put people in better situations to handle their finances, it creates a lot of situations where they're not in bad, they don't have the problems. I believe that I reduce high blood pressure. I decrease divorces, all types of things. I mean, all of this is just based on me being there for someone from a financial perspective, helping them get from point A to point B. And I love it. That's my inspiration.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And great reference to the Hair Club for Men. That's fantastic. All right. So, Sarah, you're up next. What inspired you?
So my topic is on leading quietly, and I think this actually speaks to many in the mortgage industry. We often assume that mortgage professionals are more extroverted, they're outgoing, they're talkative, outspoken, and maybe most member-facing employees or professionals are, but we forget about all of the leaders that are behind the scenes. And being an introvert or more introverted myself, I'm excited to share my message to those that aren't always the loudest. They're not always the most outgoing, but they impact the industry just the same as those that are member facing. And so hopefully they can make their mark in an industry that is loud.
I love that. I love that.
You like calling
As an introvert and as a leader of a team of introverts, I look forward to that one. Now, obviously, this you are the CEO and president, or president CEO of the Center of Practical Management.
Mhm.
Now, what specific moment or turning point in your career kind of pushed you towards that personal development or reinvention?
Yeah, so I haven't always been the owner of Practical Management. The founder, she started the company, I think it was like 20, 25 years ago. And then there was another owner in between myself and her. And the previous owner decided to take a full-time retirement position at a financial institution. And the company she was looking for sellers. And at that point, I think I'd been with them for around 7, 8 years. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm really young, but I would really like this opportunity. And so I stepped up and I decided that this is something I really wanted for my personal growth, my career. And so that was my turning point, was just deciding to risk it, which is, like I said, I'm an introvert, not normally what I do. I don't normally take risks. But I decided to do that. And so I became the owner post COVID, which people thought I was crazy. Why would you purchase a company post COVID? But it ended up being a great year, and we had its ups and downs. And so I think, even though I wasn't 100% ready, I took what I've learned from school, I took what I learned from my mentors, and I quickly shifted to become, I think a really strong leader now. And I have a team of 6 under me. And so I think that was that turning point, is just being a little bit more extroverted, taking a little bit of a risk, and just going all in.
Okay. Love it. Love it. Allie, you're up next. What inspired you?
Hi. So when I first saw the announcement for the contest that you guys were running, I was really excited to submit a video. I have recently realized my, I would say, passion for public speaking just through some different things that I've done. And so I was like, why not just start at the top of, it's going to be great. So we're just going to go in there, see what happens. But I was really excited to share my personal story of jumping around a bit, trying to find myself, and
You like
also
House of Pain jump around?
what
Like like the song
I
House
see
of
that,
Pain jump
Peter.
around?
the song.
No? Okay.
I'm learning more and more about you.
But yeah, ultimately realizing that I do my best when I am rooted and I am secure in where I am. And that was a credit union for me. And so I came back to my roots and I have, so my whole platform is called Break It Out by Staying In, Grow Where You're Rooted, and really just digging in deep where you are rather than expelling that energy, trying to find something else that might be better rather than just when you're rooted and really confident in what you're doing, then that's where your greatest growth is going to be. So I'm excited to share that.
Love it. I love it. Love it. And for those that don't know, Allie has also done stand-up comedy in the past, and she may have one or two jokes, hopefully, during her presentation.
Like,
But maybe, maybe not. All right, so Mignon, last, obviously, you're the last on this list. Your, we'll say, presentation or your pitch was very moving. So, what motivated you?
Yeah, when I first saw the announcement too, I thought this is such a great idea because I love TED Talks. I love personal development and motivational speeches. I mean, it's very inspiring and motivating to me, and I always admire those people who are able to do that. And so I loved the idea. It was just, I was like, that really spoke to me. And public speaking has always been something that in my past has been so scary to me and so intimidating. And a few years ago, I thought, if I'm going to grow as a person and as a professional, I really need to take that step and get comfortable in the uncomfortable, as we say a lot of times in my organization. And so I started really putting myself out there, doing more panels and trying to do breakout sessions and conferences and things like that, and webinars, whatever I can get my hands on. So of course, when I saw this, and I, have always, again, loved watching TED Talks and thinking like, wow, that would be so awesome to be able to be vulnerable and motivate people. So I thought I have to try, I have to submit this. And so what I really want to talk about is overcoming setbacks in life and, making those difficult choices sometimes to get back on track when you have fallen short or when you've gone in the wrong direction. How do we get back? And is all lost when sometimes it feels like everything is over. I've totally messed this up. There's no recovering from this, right? And we all have those times. And so I want to talk about that and some of the times that I've had in my life like that and how I was able to get back on track and motivate myself to, find my own strength and my power, take it back and get back on track and do something good with my life. So,
And I love it. I love it. All right, so
yeah.
let's kind of pivot to our industry because I think this is important for us. So this question really is going to go to Allie and Otis. So thinking about your mindset and the message that you're about to deliver. So how has your message or your mindset helped you navigate the current challenges in this mortgage industry? And I think we can all agree that this industry is filled with challenges and has been really for the past few years and probably going to be for the next few. So Ali, Otis, and it doesn't matter which one, just feel free to jump in. Actually, we'll start with Otis. How is your mindset or the message that you're about to deliver helped you navigate the current challenges?
Well, Peter, my mindset has always been that what I do is needed. No matter where, it's understood that over 85% of Americans believe that home ownership is still the American dream. With that being said, the market doesn't go away, it shifts. And what happens is we'll shift from a refinance to a purchase market. And what happens is, as long as we understand that the dream is still to own a home, we just have to make sure that we're on the right side of the market at that time. One of the things that I realize that credit unions that I see don't necessarily do is build that foundation of purchase business. And we tend to sit back and be victims to a wait and see market, and we wait and see as opposed to being proactive and going out there being the solution. So as long as we can determine that we understand that that market is not going anywhere, we're either going to be in it, as they say, we're going to be either on the train or on the tracks. That's what's going to happen. And more times than not, sometimes we find ourselves on the track, we're getting run over, we're dusting ourselves off and trying to figure it out. And we are at the forefront of this. I think that we are the ones with the bigger passion, with the bigger purpose, but we aren't as loud as we need to be. So the opportunity is always there. The market is always there. Nothing's going to change. We just have to make the adjustment and be there as we're needed, not when we're needed, but as we're needed, because we are needed.
Well said. Well said. Allie, same question to you.
Yeah, I agree so much with what Otis said, and it's along the same lines of my mindset. So, with staying rooted, breaking out by staying in, digging deeper, all of those things, it helps you to focus on the big picture rather than just focusing on the here and now. So, yeah, there might be high rates, or there might be a lot of competition, or there might be low inventory, but that's right now. Like, that's going to change. So I think just doing the right things now and doing the things that are actually going to make a difference now are going to secure you for the future. And so I would also say that there's no place I'd rather be lending than a credit union. And, it took some realizing that. And I think that realizing that has given me the confidence then in going after referral partners, and they can see that confidence, and then they come out of the woodwork and send their referrals because you're leading with confidence instead of like commission breath or hoping for someone to send you something, rather than, I'm at a credit union. We change the game. Like, we're competitive, but we also are people helping people. Like, we put people first, so we can work in the gray area and not just in the black and white. And we're not in the sales. We're not in sales. Like how Oda said, like, we're just in the people business. So I think just being at a credit union and leading with that confidence makes all the difference.
Okay. Allie, follow-up question for you. Who or what has really helped motivate that mindset for you?
Yeah, so I'm a avid podcast listener. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and my favorite podcast right now that I listen to is Mel Robbins. So
I thought you were going to say ACUMA's On Point podcast.
Oh, I mean, ACUMA is my very
Oh, okay. I'll forgive you this time.
But yeah, so Mel Robbins, I don't know if you're familiar with her or not, but she just wrote a book called The Let Them Theory. And so that has been, like, in the most recent couple of, I would say this year has been so motivating for me, because I struggle with, I think, caring about what other people think of me. And so that was part of my, just trying to live someone else's idea of success rather than knowing what I'm good at and just leaning into that. And so that has been a big inspiration for me and something that I've leaned a lot on.
Okay, love it. All right, so Mary Mignon. Yeah, I'm really going to lean hard on you two for this next question. We've already established challenging, uncertain, interesting times. And Mary, you attended our workshops, or our Savannah workshop, and Mignon, you attended our annual conference last year. And I think you two are well positioned to answer this question. So credit unions seem to be wavering on the investment in mortgage, to the point where they're just either pulling out or pulling back, however you want to frame it up. So in your opinion, why is it so important to continue their efforts in mortgage and really continue that investment? Mary, we're going to start with you.
Yeah. Mortgages are more than a transaction. And I think we lose sight of that sometimes when we talk about it's buying a home or refinancing a home. And that is how a credit union builds and deepens trust and builds long-term relationships. It's the stickiest transaction that anybody has, right? Is their home. It's their primary investment. It's where they live. They see it every day, and it's important to them. So being tied to that as a credit union deepens that relationship, right? We've talked about it. The market's tough, right? I mean, there's noise, rates, volume, regulation, all that stuff is out there. But when all of that is happening and the news media can't find enough things to say about this industry and rates and housing and all that, that's when members turn to the people they trust the most and they need them the most. So it's really the time for credit unions to lean in because the competition is stiff out there in the mortgage industry. I'm not naming any names, but the number one mortgage provider spends millions of dollars every year to get their brand out there. But as a credit union, we're a nonprofit organization that is there for our sole purpose is to help the American people buy a home, live in a home, finance their home, and take care of it. We pass our savings through to the membership versus promoting our organization and branding and all of that. So I believe if a credit union wants to be relevant, now's the time to lean in even more so than ever.
Okay, love it. Well said. Very well said. Mignon.
Yeah, I would echo that. And I think Allie and Otis also made some really great points. You know, it's people helping people, and credit unions play a unique and a very critical role in the financial ecosystem. It's a very unique space. And again, you know, playing a lot in those gray spaces, like Allie said. There's something else too that that Mary kind of noted, that you know the largest players out there are spending a lot of money to put their name out there. They're also investing heavily in data analytics to really target borrowers. You know, you search for a house or you go to an open house and you've got, you know, those leads are coming in. They know where you are. And you know that's where it's very off-putting to a lot of people. You don't want to be targeted just because you searched up a house and now you've got LOs calling you on the phone or something, right? So it's a space where I think a lot of people that feel inundated with all of the targeted marketing, they are going to be pushed more towards those trusted partners that they have, that they know the people at their credit union, they're in their neighborhoods, they're invested in the communities, and it's a different relationship. It's not that targeting, I'm after you, I'm going to make a sale type of transaction like we've already heard about. It is that relationship. And I think people are going to be more inclined to respond to that type of service and product over being that, you know, heavily targeted and just, you know, getting that feed of calls constantly.
No, well said. It's interesting that you said that. I just had a conversation with someone yesterday about predictive modeling within credit unions and being able to predict our members' behavior, and not in a negative way, but more so knowing, being that financial provider for their entire life, right? We have enough data. We know when, you know, Johnny, you know, will more than likely get his first checking account or savings account. We know more than likely at what point in time when Johnny graduates college, when he'll probably buy his first car on his own without his parents' help, right? We know more than likely when he'll get his first credit card. When we'll know when he gets married, right? Just like the rest of his family. We're part of the family, right? We know after he gets married when he'll probably buy his house with his wife, right? We know these things and we have predictive models, right? So it's interesting you say that, and I love that answer, and I love your response, Mary, as well. So, I mean, kind of staying with you, kind of thinking about habits, tools, routines, and things that you use to stay focused, grounded, and things that you would suggest that credit unions and our listeners can use to stay focused during this shifting market. What are things that they really can use to kind of stay ahead?
Yeah, I have a few habits that I really turn to, you know, to focus on. I really I learned this from a mentor and I love this. I block out calendar time every week to make sure that I'm focusing on the things that are really important to me, whether it's, your leadership skills, listening to, TED Talks or something like that, reading books. It could be things in the industry that you're listening to if you're wanting to, stay up to date and current on what you're doing. You really need to block out time for that and time to be creative. So especially in this industry, a lot of people are coming out with new and innovative mortgage products, HELOCs, different things, right? You've got to really schedule time to be creative and to think about those things. If that's a role that you're in, or if you're an LO and you need to learn about these new products that you're offering that maybe your company is rolling out, right? You want to make sure that you're setting aside that time to be able to study and think creatively so that you're not just on the go all the time and just trying to make it through the day. So setting aside that time is really critical. Another thing that really keeps me motivated, especially in down times, is really focusing, instead of focusing on perfection, focusing on, attainable goals that, small achievable things that you can get through, to just have some small wins, whether it's every day or every month, have some things that you're working toward. And that kind of helps me stay focused as well, so that I don't feel so scattered and all over the place. I know each day, these are the main things that I'm going to do today. And when I end the day, if I've done those few things, then I know that I've been successful today. So that's my second thing. I would say one other thing would be to concentrate your energy on actions and attitudes that are in your control, because there's a lot of things that are not in our control right now in this market, right? There's a lot of changing regulations right now, or uncertainty in the regulatory environment. There's high interest rate and all the things that we've talked about already. So focusing on what you can control and what makes a difference in your day and in your members' day, that's what you need to really focus on, like building those relationships, looking for efficiencies maybe within your department or within your own position and role. Look for efficiencies, things that you can actually make a difference with, and really focusing on those things rather than all of the things that make our jobs hard right now.
Okay. Love it. Love it. All right. Next question is for Sarah, Mary, and Allie. We're going to start with Sarah. What was the biggest lesson or personal growth moment you've experienced recently? Or it doesn't have to be recently, but how has it shaped your leadership?
Sure. So mine, I would say, is pretty recent. I recently started a family, and my son is going to be
Oh,
a year at the end of this month. So
congratulations.
pretty recent. Thank you. But I think my personal growth moment was managing my work-life balance, which I assume a lot of, women, people go through, is how do I do both? And so there were times where I questioned, am I being a good leader to my team? Am I being a good partner to my clients? Am I being a good mom? Am I being a good wife? And so I just, was kind of trying to effectively do all of these things. And what I told myself is to practice what I preach. And at Practical Management, we, believe that managers are that secret special sauce, and that to be an effective leader or manager, you have to be consistent and frequent. And so I kept all of my one-on-ones with my team members. I kept all of my monthly team meetings that we get together as a team. I even hosted an annual team meeting where I flew everyone down to Ormond Beach, Florida, which is where I'm located. And I kept all of those things on my calendar. I did not cancel. I did not miss. I did not push back or delay or anything. And I asked my team when I was on site with them, I'm worried that I am not giving my all. I'm not engaged with all that's going on. And not one person said that I wasn't. And so I think that's, a huge moment in my life, in my career, is that you can do it all. You just have to manage your time effectively and not forget about those that are most important on your team, which is your people.
That's it. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Mary, to you.
Yeah, I don't think it's one large item or occurrence that happened, but over time, and I'm a little older than some people here, I have come to appreciate everybody that I work with in the organization, whether they're peers, whether they're leadership, or whether people on my team, and just walking alongside them, listening, observing. I see their, their pride in what they do, their, intensity around serving the membership, the creativity. A lot of people have talked about that, and just allowing that to be something that I take in, and then I get grounded. And as a leader, being grounded in what is actually happening, what is real, to what our members feel, to what our employees feel, I think has changed me as a leader, and it makes going to work so much fun for me. That is actually the joy, right? I say we're in the people business, and I've heard a lot of my peers here say the same thing. We do mortgages for a living, but what brings me great joy is the people that I work with, watching them develop, watching their careers take off, watching people serve the membership when they get that picture of somebody with the keys in front of the house, and just how important that is to somebody. You made that dream come true. So that's kind of where I live these days, and I'm really happy to be there.
Love it. Allie.
So for me, I would say that I'm in my yes era. And so I say yes to all the things, and then I just do it all and hope for the best. So I have 3 kids. I have an 8, a 6, and a 3-year-old, and a very supportive husband. So I this year have made it more of a goal to get involved in different groups that I network. And so I'm president of one of my group. I'm a member of one. I'm an ambassador for another. And so through those opportunities, I'm seeing more opportunities come, and I am just getting in front of more people. And I'm noticing that I don't see a lot of credit union people showing up to the same things that I'm showing up to. So because I'm coming as a credit union, I think the stigma of a lot of credit union mortgage loan officers, just from my experience with realtors, is that we're 9 to 5. Like, we can't be bothered on the nights or weekends. We're just going to do the basic things. And I think that through getting more involved and getting myself out there and telling them what I'm able to do, then they see that it is a stigma. It's not true. And my realtors, they can call me anytime, and they do. And it just has made such a difference. So I think just getting involved and putting myself out there and saying yes has helped with leadership in that way.
Okay. Love it. Love it. All right. Marion Otis. So, I love giving people advice, and I think there's no two better people on this webinar to give sound advice than the two of you. What advice would you give, others in our industry, credit unions, people who are just trying to find their way? So what kind of advice would you give others in our industry who are just trying to, make their mark, make an impact in our industry in really these uncertain times? Mary, we're going to start with you on this one.
I think making your mark, it's hard to define that for people, but it's not a title, it's not tenure, it's impact, right? How you show up, how your personal being and presence influences things, what people think about after they've worked with you, what an organization is doing because you can influence it. I think just being gracious to yourself, allowing yourself to have flaws and not see that as a negative, and just keep moving forward, because to have an impact, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to show up, have perseverance, because this industry rewards perseverance and service. If you do those 2 things, perseverance and service, I believe the rest will come.
Love it. Love it. Otis, same question to you. What advice would you give people just trying to make their mark, make an impact in these uncertain times?
I'm going to go back to something Ali talked about, and she talked about being in places that people aren't familiar with you being. And the number one thing I say is to be present. I find oftentimes we're not as present as we can be, and not only do we have to be present, but we have to be bold. We have to be there, making our mark, making that stance. And I say that because when I'm in rooms with banks, the first thing I tell them, I talk about imitation is the best form of flattery. And I'm like, you guys, your CRA is just duplicating and imitating who we are at heart. So I want you to take that into consideration and know that we're here because we want to be. We're here because we love to be. And we're here, we're serving our community while they're serving their shareholders. There's a difference. And I'm not afraid to admit that. So when I walk into a room, I'm bold. And I always say, when I leave that room, I don't want to be remembered. I want to be missed. And there's a difference. So I am unapologetically making my mark everywhere I go.
Okay, I love it. So, I guess, to that last point, when we first came up with the motto of make your mark for our annual conference, it was based off the idea that, we as credit unions need to do better. We have to be the difference makers within our communities, within our families, within our lives, within our credit unions.
Mhm.
We have to find a way to put more families in homes. We have to find a way to support one another. So for Otis, since you're finding ways to make your mark, I guess the last question, this question is for you. How do you personally define that exact phrase? How do you define make your mark?
Well, I live it.
Yeah,
I have to live that. It's purpose driven.
love
I
it.
understand that, when I've been doing this again nearly 30 years, and my purpose and my passion have met. It's not about money; it's about impact. And being there truly makes a difference because when I help others, it helps me. Most of the time, when I'm giving talks like this, when I'm having conversations with members or potential members, I'm either having a conversation with my previous self or my current self. I'm giving myself advice. I'm giving advice to my sons, my nephews, my family. So I look at it from that perspective. So everything that I do, people say is not personal, but it is personal for me. It is. Again, when I walk away from you, I shake your hand, I do something. What I've done is change your life. We talk about, and I believe we're in the biggest and the best industry there is in the best part of the credit union when we talk about home ownership, because this is what people utilize to build and initiate their what do you call it, their foundation and their generational wealth. It's not done from a savings account or from a checking account. It starts with them starting off buying that home. And that's what they start to lean into. And when we recognize how important we are and we don't belittle ourselves and we understand once again that imitation is the best form of flattery, that everybody else is trying to duplicate what we do just within us is just who we are, and we understand why we're here and not what we do, but why we do it, there's nothing to stop us. So those are the things that keeps me motivated and keeps me going, and hopefully I make it contagious and it spreads through to everyone else.
Okay. Home run on that answer. Home run. All right. So last question before I give you guys an opportunity for final thoughts. Mignon, I'm going to start with you. Without giving it away, without giving too much away from your session, what can attendees expect from your ACUMA presentation in Denver? And really, why should they stay for that Wednesday morning?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. And definitely you should all stay for that Wednesday morning session. So from my talk, I think you'll be able to get some insights and some motivation. I'm going to deliver 5 or 6 powerful lessons that I've learned to help me stay motivated through my downtimes in life. And I think through those 5 or 6 lessons, you'll be able to have some actionable takeaways from listening to me, and hopefully it'll give you some inspiration and some things to think about. One of the main things that I'm going to talk about too is just vision and having a vision. So that's going to be a big one there. But yeah, I think, having some actionable items that you can take away and put to work right away is definitely going to be one of the things that, one of the goals that I have for you as a listener.
Awesome. Awesome. Sarah, do you?
Okay, I'm sorry if you hear the crying baby in the background.
It's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
Without giving it all away, I just like to say that mine will talk about not that no one person is just an introvert or an extrovert, that we have tendencies of both. So I will speak more on that, and that can be surprising to some people. And then the second thing I'll share is that participants will learn practical ways to engage their team, whether they are themselves a quiet leader or they have a team of quiet leaders.
Okay, excellent. Mary.
Okay. Expect to hear a personal story, right? And it might be a lot like your own, or it might sound like somebody on your team. And it kind of focuses in on what it really means to recognize potential for leadership and then develop it. And then even more so, why that's critical to our industry and to our credit unions today. I hope you'll leave with some clarity, maybe a little bit of inspiration. And I'm going to walk through about 5 tips that I think if we all focus on, it's going to be a game changer for how credit unions grow the best talent, not just for credit unions, but for this industry. So I'm very passionate about that. I hope people will come and enjoy.
All right. Thank you, Mary. Otis, to you.
For me, it's quite simple. It really is just talking about our impact. Understanding what our low-hanging fruit is now and for the future. It's really about strategizing and preparing for what we're going through now and how things are going to turn out for us. It's leaning into who we are. And my goal is to, again, inspire you to aspire to do even more and to lean into us being who we are and understanding our why and how it's going to impact our members for generations to come. You wouldn't want to miss it.
Okay, appreciate it. Allie, to you.
So I would say that my presentation will be a funny, lighthearted story based on my own personal experience of, albeit some wrong turns, if you'll call them that, in my career that actually led me to growth, stretching, realization, getting rooted. And I hope to leave you inspired that getting out of your comfort zone might be closer than you think, and that we are people helping people. We're putting people into homes, and the grass is greener here at a credit union.
Okay, thank you very much. Any final thoughts from anyone? I'll open it up. No?
Start. I'm excited to hear what everyone has to talk about. I will definitely be there, cheering you all on. I'm excited to hear your stories. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to, continue relationships and see what we can do to inspire and help each other move along and have the impact that we're capable of having within the industry and specifically at this event.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
I know I'm excited to hear each of your speeches, just like Otis said. I think ACUMAx it's fantastic that you're doing this and presenting this in such a form, because ACUMAx is about pushing our industry and our business forward, right? And so I hope it energizes people to think about it that way and to show up differently today than they did yesterday, and so on and so forth. So I'm looking forward to the entire event.
Good. Thank you very much. Well, everyone, thank you very much for your time today. Truly do appreciate it. And I will say this, after spending the better part of the hour with you today, I couldn't be more reassured and confident that our decision to pick the 5 of you plus the one missing person, although we didn't hear from him today, we made the right decision. All of you were fantastic today. I loved hearing your messages and your viewpoints on all the questions. So thank you very much.
Thank you,
My
Peter.
pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Once again, thank you to Mike and Take 3 Tech for sponsoring today's webinar. And again, thank you to our panelists for their valuable insight. And to all of you, thank you for attending today's webinar. Your time is valuable. We appreciate you spending the better part of an hour with us today. We hope you enjoyed it. We understand that 53 minutes isn't nearly enough time to cover everything that we want to discuss today. If you want to continue to learn and fine-tune your knowledge, I would recommend attending one of our upcoming events or listening to one of our podcasts, where you will find that you will continue to expand upon this topic and much, much more. Head over to www.acuma.org or our community page for more information on the latest updates on everything happening over here at ACUMA. Until next time, be well, my friends. Take care. Bye.